Want to connect better with friends or colleagues who celebrate Eid al-Adha? Or simply curious about global traditions? This episode breaks down the festival of sacrifice, its history, rituals, and how to discuss it respectfully in English. Get ready to expand your cultural horizons. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Drill Zone, the podcast where we drill down into language, culture, and effective communication. I'm your host, Adam.
And I'm Sarah, co-hosting with Adam. We're so glad you could tune in today for an episode that promises to be both enlightening and culturally rich.
Absolutely, Sarah. We often talk about using English to connect with people globally, and understanding different cultural contexts is a huge part of that. Today, they were exploring a celebration observed by nearly 2 billion people worldwide, Eid al-Adha.
That's right. Many of us might have heard the name, perhaps seen news reports, or even know friends who celebrate it. But do we really understand its deep significance, its rituals, and the spirit behind it? We realized we had some gaps in our own knowledge.
We did. We know it's often called the Festival of Sacrifice, which sounds quite intense. We wondered about the story behind that, the traditions involved, the atmosphere during the celebration, and crucially for our English Drill Zone community, how to talk about it respectfully and accurately in English.
So, we thought, who better to guide us through this than someone who lives and breathes this tradition? We're incredibly excited to welcome a special guest to the podcast today.
Joining us live from Saudi Arabia is our good friend, Ali. Ali, welcome to English Drill Zone.
Adam, Sarah, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you both, and to all your listeners. Thank you for the wonderful invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Wa alaikum assalam, Ali. The pleasure is all ours. Thanks for making the time to chat with us and our listeners. We're eager to learn.
Welcome, Ali. We're so happy you could join us. Let's dive right in. Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice. Can you unpack that for us? What's the core story it commemorates?
Certainly, Sarah. It's a story central to Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, though with some variations. Eid al-Adha specifically commemorates the unwavering faith and obedience of Prophet Ibrahim, known as Abraham in the West. In a profound test of faith, God commanded Ibrahim in a vision to sacrifice his beloved son, Ishmael in the Bible.
That's such a heavy command. It's hard to even imagine facing such a test.
Indeed, the story emphasizes Ibrahim's complete submission to God's will, even when faced with the most difficult command imaginable. And equally important is Ismail's patience and acceptance. He encouraged his father to obey God's command. It's a powerful testament to their shared faith. However, just as Ibrahim prepared to fulfill the command, God intervened, revealing that the test was passed through Ibrahim's willingness. He provided a ram to be sacrificed instead of Ismail.
So the sacrifice wasn't the ultimate point, but the willingness to obey was? That's a crucial distinction.
Exactly. The story highlights that God doesn't desire human sacrifice, but rather the devotion, trust, and obedience of the heart. The ram became a symbol of God's mercy and provision, and this story, is the foundation of Eid al-Adha.
That provides so much context. So the animal sacrifice that is a major part of Eid al-Adha today, the Qurbani or Udhiyah, is a direct remembrance of that ram and Ibrahim's devotion?
Precisely. It's a symbolic act performed by Muslims worldwide who have the financial means. It serves as a reminder of Ibrahim's obedience and our own need to submit to God's will, and also as an expression of gratitude for God's blessings. The animal, typically a sheep, goat, cow, or camel, must meet certain age and health requirements, and the sacrifice is performed in a specific, humane way.
You mentioned earlier when we chatted briefly before the show that sharing the meat is fundamental. Can you elaborate on that? How does it work?
Absolutely. This is perhaps one of the most beautiful aspects of the Qurbani and reflects the social conscience of Islam. The meat isn't hoarded or consumed solely by the family performing the sacrifice. It's traditionally divided into three parts. 1/3 for the family, to enjoy the blessings themselves. 2, 1/3 for relatives, friends, and neighbors, strengthening community bonds. 3, 1/3 for the poor and needy. This is crucial. It ensures that those less fortunate can also partake in the celebration and enjoy a hearty meal, something they might not often afford. This distribution embodies the spirit of charity, empathy, and social solidarity.
That's incredibly impactful. It turns a personal act of devotion into a community-wide act of sharing and support. It addresses potential inequalities right within the ritual itself.
That's the intention. It ensures the blessings are spread widely. It's about remembering that wealth is a trust from God and should be shared.
Beyond the sacrifice, what are the other key elements of the Eid al-Adha celebration? How does the day or days typically unfold?
Eid al-Adha is celebrated over 4 days, starting on the 10th day of Dhul Hijjah, the final month of the Islamic lunar calendar. The first day is the most important. It begins very early in the morning with personal preparations, bathing, wearing one's best clothes, often new, and perhaps using perfume.
So, a sense of special preparation, like dressing up for a major holiday anywhere in the world?
Exactly. Then comes the special Eid prayer, Salat al-Eid. This is a congregational prayer, meaning it's performed together in a large group. People head to designated prayer grounds, often large open spaces called musallas, or major mosques. It's quite a sight to see communities gathering together.
Oh, is this prayer mandatory for everyone?
It's highly recommended, considered a strong sunnah, practice of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, bordering on obligatory according to some scholars, especially for men. Women and children often attend as well, adding to the communal atmosphere. The prayer itself is unique. It has extra takbirs, saying Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest, compared to the 5 daily prayers. After the prayer, the Imam delivers a sermon, the khutbah.
What's usually covered in the sermon?
The Imam typically reflects on the story of Ibrahim and Ismail, emphasizing the lessons of faith, obedience, patience, and sacrifice. They often speak about the importance of unity within the community, caring for the poor, maintaining family ties, and the significance of the Hajj pilgrimage, which culminates around the same time.
You mentioned Hajj. How exactly does Eid al-Adha connect with the pilgrimage to Mecca?
The timing is intrinsically linked. Eid al-Adha begins the day after the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah, 9th Dhul Hijjah, is the spiritual peak of the Hajj pilgrimage, where millions of pilgrims gather on the plains of Arafat near Mecca, praying and supplicating. Several key Hajj rituals, including the pilgrim's own sacrifice ritual, Hadi, and the symbolic stoning of the devil, occur during the days of Eid al-Adha. So, while Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid, the pilgrims in Mecca are performing these specific intense rites. There's a powerful sense of shared experience and spiritual connection between the pilgrims and the global Muslim community, Ummah.
That global connection sounds profound. Now, you mentioned the Takbirat earlier. Can you remind us what that is and when it's recited?
The Takbirat. It's the audible heartbeat of Eid. It's the glorification of God, repeatedly chanting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. This translates to, God is the greatest, God is the greatest, God is the greatest. There is no God but God. God is the greatest, God is the greatest. And all praise is due to God.
It sounds beautiful just hearing the translation. What does it actually sound like? Is it melodic?
It can be quite melodic and is often chanted collectively, creating a powerful, resonant sound. It starts from the dawn of the day of Arafah, the day before Eid, and continues until the afternoon of the fourth day of Eid. You hear it in mosques, especially after the 5 daily prayers, in homes, in marketplaces, as people go about their business, and as families travel to visit relatives. It truly fills the air with a sense of reverence and celebration. To give you a better idea, would you like to hear a short sample? I have one ready.
Yes, please. That would be fantastic for us and our listeners.
Okay, here you go. Listen closely.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Hearing it like that, it really does create a special atmosphere. It feels both celebratory and deeply spiritual.
It does. It has a communal energy. Thanks for sharing that, Ollie. So, after the morning prayer and the Qurbani for those performing it, what happens next? Is it mostly about solemn reflection, or does the celebration kick in?
The celebration definitely kicks in. While the morning has its solemn, spiritual focus, the rest of Eid is very much about joy, connection, and festivity. Think big family lunches, often featuring the fresh meat from the udhiyah. Homes become hubs of activity, filled with relatives and friends dropping by.
So, visiting family is a big part of it?
The celebration definitely kicks in. While the morning has its solemn, spiritual focus, the rest of Eid is very much about joy, connection, and festivity. Think big family lunches, often featuring the fresh meat from the udhiyah. Homes become hubs of activity, filled with relatives and friends dropping by.
That sounds lovely. What about gift giving? Is that common?
Yes, especially for children. The tradition of Eidi is very popular across the Muslim world. Older family members and family friends give gifts, usually money, to the younger ones. Children eagerly anticipate their Eidi collections. Adults might exchange gifts too, but the focus is often on bringing joy to the children.
Eidi, that sounds fun. Are there specific types of food, besides the meat dishes, that are strongly associated with Eid al-Adha?
Absolutely, though it varies greatly by region and even family tradition. Festive rice dishes like biryani or pulao are common in many parts of Asia and the Middle East. Special breads might be baked. In the Middle East and North Africa, you'll find various tagines, stews like fateh, layers of bread, rice, meat and sauce, and lots of grilled meats, kebabs, kofta. And sweets are essential. Special Eid cookies like mamul, semolina, cookies stuffed with dates or nuts, or kak in Egypt, baklava, various types of halwa. The list is long and delicious.
My mouth is watering just listening to that. It sounds like a real feast for the senses. Now, Ali, let's shift back to the language aspect for our English drill zone listeners. We've learned some key terms like Eid al-Adha, Qurbani, Takbirat. How can English learners talk about these concepts clearly and respectfully?
Great question, Adam. Using the right language shows respect and understanding. Here's a recap and some extra pointers. The holiday. Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha. Explain it as the festival of sacrifice. You could say it commemorates Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son. The sacrifice, Qurbani, Qurbani, or Udhiya, Udhiya, use ritual sacrifice or sacrificial offering. Explain the purpose. The meat is shared especially with the poor. The prayer, Eid prayer, or Salat al-Eid, Salat al-Eid. Describe it as a special congregational prayer. The chanting, Takbirat, Takbirat. Call it chants glorifying God, or recitations of God's greatness. Key figures, Prophet Ibrahim, Abraham, and Prophet Ismail, Ishmael. Core values, emphasize faith, obedience, sacrifice, charity, community, family ties, gratitude. Duration, mentioned, it's a 4-day celebration. Connection to Hajj. You can say it coincides with the Hajj pilgrimage.
What about common pitfalls or things to avoid saying? Are there any misconceptions English speakers might have?
Good point. Sometimes people focus solely on the sacrifice aspect and might perceive it as gruesome. It's important to emphasize the symbolism. It's about Ibrahim's devotion, not bloodlust, and the charitable aspect of sharing the meat. Also, avoid calling it the Muslim Christmas. While both are major holidays involving family and feasting, their origins, meanings, and rituals are entirely distinct. Comparing them minimizes the unique significance of each.
That's really helpful advice. Context and nuance are key. And the all-important greeting, Eid Mubarak. Can you break down the meaning and pronunciation one more time?
Of course. Eid, like feed, means festival or celebration. Mubarak, Mubarak, stress on ba, means blessed. So, Eid Mubarak literally means blessed celebration, or have a blessed Eid. It's the most common, simple, and universally understood greeting. Using it shows warmth and respect.
Eid Mubarak. It feels much more meaningful now. Ali, this conversation has been incredibly rich. You've painted a vivid picture of Eid al-Adha, moving beyond simple definitions to explore the deep layers of faith, history, community, and celebration. Thank you.
I echo that, Sarah. Thank you, Ali, for sharing your knowledge and personal insights so generously. You've given us and our listeners valuable tools, both cultural understanding and the English vocabulary to express it.
It has been my absolute pleasure, Adam and Sarah. Sharing aspects of my culture and faith is always rewarding, especially when there's genuine curiosity and a desire to learn, like you both and your audience have shown. Cross-cultural dialogue is so vital in our interconnected world.
Before we wrap up, do you have any final advice for our listeners who might want to learn more about different cultures or engage in these kinds of conversations?
My advice is simple. Be curious, be open-minded, and be respectful. Ask questions genuinely, listen actively, and don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. Read books, watch documentaries, talk to people from different backgrounds, and use your English skills as a bridge. Language learning isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about connecting with humanity in all its diversity.
Wonderful advice to end on. Ali, thank you once again for being an exceptional guest on English Drill Zone.
Yes, thank you, Ali. An Eid Mubarak to you and your loved ones when the time arrives.
Thank you both for the wonderful conversation. Eid Mubarak to you too. Keep up the fantastic work with the podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow, Sarah. That was truly special. Ali gave us so much to think about.
He really did. It's a powerful reminder that behind every tradition and ritual, there are deep human stories, values, and connections. Understanding these makes our world feel a little smaller and a lot richer.
And for everyone listening, we hope this deep dive into Eid al-Adha has been valuable. Remember the key takeaways: the story of Ibrahim's faith, the symbolism of the Qurbani, and the importance of charity, the communal spirit of the Eid prayer and Takbirat, the joy of family gatherings and Eidi, and of course how to wish someone a heartfelt Eid Mubarak.
Use this knowledge and language to connect, understand, and appreciate the diverse tapestry of celebrations around the globe. That's the power of language and cultural awareness.
Goodbye for now, and see you next episode.